You're tuned in to the Dakota Housing Network on Super Talk 1270 and supertalk1270.com. In-depth discussion and analysis of real estate issues nationwide and those issues unique to our area. Our team of experts includes Joe Sheehan, Greg Larson, Dave Floor, Brian Ritter, and a great variety of guests. The Dakota Housing Network begins now on Super Talk 1270 and supertalk1270.com.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Ritter. I am the president and CEO of the Bismarck Mandan Development Association, and for the next hour, the pilot of your radio ship. What do you think? Right? I'm joined today in studio by, as always, producer Jim. Producer Jim, our musical theme today? What are we thinking?
Back to school.
It's back. It is topical.
Yeah.
It's timely. We're doing back to school.
Yeah, I'll do a little Chuck Berry, Steely Dan, my old school.
Oh, fantastic. And my guest today, friend, colleague, Mr. Phil Davis from Job Service North Dakota. Phil, welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again, Brian.
You know what? You hesitated when I asked you to do the show. You gave me some flack. I mean, I feel like you hesitated to be my guest. Like you didn't want to come on here because you were afraid of what was going to happen. Is that true?
Yeah, a little bit. A little hesitation
I
there,
appreciate the honesty because I felt it. Because I felt it, Phil. I'm not offended. We're going to go ahead.
But I'm here. We're going to have a good time. We got some good music coming on. I'm loving it already.
We're going to see how the first 15 minutes goes, and we're going to see if we continue out the show as is or if we have to find somebody else from the street.
Okay.
You okay
Sounds
with that?
good. I'm fair enough.
All right. Well, folks, we're going to start off today's show, as we do every month, with a look around the Bismarck-Mandan economy, because the BMDA is the economic development organization for all of Bismarck, Mandan, Burley, and Morton County. And that means that our mission, in essence, is to grow this community's economy. And there's a lot happening. I mean, Phil, you drive around right now. Do you feel a difference in pace at all in terms of growth and development and the activity than you did a couple years ago? Or do you think you still feel a really good, healthy, strong economy?
I think a little bit of both. And I moved back home to Mandan, of course, Mandan and Bismarck here 9 years ago, and it's the change has been just unreal. And just driving down here from Bismarck over to Mandan, you can count the different and new places of business. And I was going to ask you later, what's that one? Because there was another one I didn't know. So, yeah, definitely a good growth. I think maybe we slowed down a little bit, but over the last, from where we were maybe in 2012 to 2014, but that's okay too. It's a chance to catch up.
And see, and the reason I asked Phil that question is because the conversation that Phil and I were having a lot early on in the year was, what are you hearing from businesses? What are you hearing from people coming in the door? Because what we felt at the BMDA was really a drop in, let's call it consumer confidence. Maybe it was the weather. Maybe it was the drop in oil prices. Maybe it was the fact that we've got a sluggish ag economy right now. But people just didn't have that same energy. You didn't see the same level of reinvestment happening. And it gave us, quite frankly, some cause for concern. And so now, here we are. We're in the middle of the summer. Construction season is going full tilt. And you look around the economy right now, and things are going well. I mean, we talk about construction, building permits. I think this surprises a lot of people right now. But when we look at the number of single-family building permits issued in Bismarck, Mandan, Burley, Morton County, you think we're up or down, Phil? What do you think?
I would say we're still up.
You're right. You think you cheated. You
a little bit.
Your listeners can't see this, but Phil just craned his neck and looked at my sheet.
You send out these updates every week. I have to look at them, Brian.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you're reading.
I'm probably the only one.
Well then, our loyal reader. He's right, though. Phil is right. If you went through the first 6 months of 2015, there were 305 new single-family building permits issued. This year, that number is 331. And the reason I ask you if you're surprised is because most people, and we're in the community right now, you ask that question and they're going, oh, no, it's slower. It's slower. No, there are more homes being built. And quite frankly, I was speaking with one of our local building officials just yesterday, and I think we're going to see a rush here now because of the issue we talked about just now with people not wanting to pull the trigger, so to speak, early on in the year. People now want to get in before the snow flies. And that's going to be a tough thing to do, quite frankly, given the pace of development.
Right. I agree with you. And you can parallel that with the number of businesses that are coming to town, too, especially in our retail, our restaurant area. And I know we're going to get into job openings, that sort of thing, a little bit later in the show. But it's every week, we probably have, across the state, another 20 to 30 businesses that are registering with us that are brand new.
Awesome.
It's adding up and adding up.
See, now, and if we stay in that home market, of course, a lot of times people who are building new homes most of them are already in the market and they already own a home or they probably rent one. But we could talk about both sides of that coin. Because when you look at the number of homes being sold, I mean, so we just talked about new homes being built. When we talk about the number of existing homes being sold in the market right now, if we go back to last year, we look at the first 6 months of 2015, there were 582 single-family homes sold. This year, that number is 656. Now, of course, the follow-up question to that is, what about prices? I mean, what are we seeing in terms of pricing for those homes? When we look at the average sale price, just for those single-family homes, it's still, the average sale price is right around $280,000. Yeah. It's right around $280,000. And Phil, you know, you and I have talked about this in the past as well, but do you think in some respects that's a barrier to folks who want to relocate or stay in Bismarck-Mandan, is that cost of housing?
I think it can be a barrier, especially with our medium wage that is being paid out there right now, because with that wage doesn't always add up to what the price the average price of the home.
And certainly that price has risen pretty dramatically over the last decade or so, because if we went back 10 years, and I just did this for a presentation, that average sale price is probably $100,000 to $120,000 less. I mean, so we've seen a rapidly growing market, and that really shows no signs of slowing down. Now, another part of that housing market is our apartments. And how many times do you hear, Phil, driving around town? Well, here we are in the studio in Southeast Mandan, and if we went back 10 years and looked at this neighborhood, it would look dramatically different. And apartments are a big part of that.
And they sure are. And they're right here, like you said, my son used to live down in this area, and the amount of housing, or I should say apartments that are going up here is just unreal. No, but I don't think we've seen much of a drop in prices across the board for rental units.
No, and what we're seeing is we're still seeing a strong occupancy, because, of course, that's always a question people ask, because we've put up so many rental units. People want to know, well, where are we at? I mean, are we filling those units? Are they empty? What's happening? And so the Bismarck-Mandan Apartment Association and North Dakota Guarantee Title, within the last 12 to 18 months, I started doing a vacancy survey, because we never had this before. But surveying their members and asking them kind of what are your occupancies right now, and they segregate it between Bismarck and Mandan and those units built prior to 2010 and those units built after 2010. So if we look at Bismarck, March of 2016, that first quarter survey, the vacancy rate for units built before 2010, 5.4%. Bismarck, again, those units built after 2010, 7.4%. So not a big gap, and maybe not as much as I would expect. Now, if we go to the Mandan side, those numbers are lower. Mandan, apartment units built prior to 2010, the reported vacancy is only 2.9%. That's absurdly low. People are going to keep building at 2.9%.
Right. And it's one of the questions that we get from job seekers that come into our office, especially those folks who just got here. Literally, they just drove into town. They know where we're at. Everything's packed in the pickup. Mom's car, too. Where should we live? Where do we point them? And it's always hard to, they don't right now have a job. And with the rental rates and the occupancy rates, it's tough to point them in a good direction all the time.
Absolutely. And, of course, that leads us right into our first break of the show. As promised, Jim has some back-to-school music for us. We'll be right here after the break on Super Talk 1270.
Currently, it's 70.
Here's Sean Hannity, weekday afternoons on Super Talk 1270.
Up in the morning and out to school. The teacher is teaching the golden rule.
And we're back here on Super Talk 1270. As we talked about, it's a back-to-school theme today, Phil. Everyone's going back to school next week, including my wife, Kim, who teaches kindergarten. She teaches kindergarten at St. Mary's Grade School. She's listening right now. She just texted me, sounding good.
Yeah.
She didn't say anything about you, Phil.
No, she didn't.
No, she said me.
I've never met her.
She said I'm sounding good, but not so much you. I can't help you. That's neither here nor there.
Well, my staff always tells me I've got a great face for radio, so
That's ice cold. Job service staff.
They're rough over there.
Folks, we're back here again. My name is Brian Ritter. I am the president of the Bismarck-Mandan Development Association, your host for the next 45 minutes here on the Dakota Housing Network. My guest is my good friend Phil Davis from Job Service North Dakota. And Phil, today we are going to talk about Job Service North Dakota.
Let's do it, and I'm excited.
Let's talk about job service, and let's hear. I don't know if there's any really misconceptions in the community, like we were talking about before the show, about job service or what it is that you do. I just think that you do so much that it's tough to keep track of everything that you do for the community. So first, let's talk about your office, where it's at, and what happens out of that building up on Century Avenue.
First off, we are at 1601 East Century Avenue. So if you're coming up State Street or 83 and you're going north, or you're coming in from the north and you turn going east onto Century Avenue by our good friends at Space Aliens, and you go 2 blocks east, and it'll be on your right-hand side, right past the cemetery.
So you're not in the building by the Capitol is what you're telling me.
We're not in the building by the Capitol. That is where our central office folks are. That's where my boss is
Okay,
located.
but not Phil.
Nope, not Phil. Not Phil and his good staff. We're over on East Century Avenue. We're across from the big building where houses the Department of Commerce, WSI, and those folks over there.
So job seekers, I mean, if we've got listeners out there who are thinking about, hey, I want to go check out what's available, I want to stop in and see what resources, they're coming to you on Century Avenue. When they walk in the door, what can they expect, Phil? What can they do in your office? What can they expect?
They can, number one, they can expect a smile and a how can we help you
There we
today?
go.
And that's what we do.
And that's free, folks.
And really, yeah, that is. Well, first off, a lot of people might not know. Yes, we are a state agency, but we are about 98% federally funded. Okay, but I just wanted to throw that out there just so everybody kind of has aware of that. But really, our bottom line is we're there to connect job seekers to employers and employers to job seekers. So again, back to your question, if somebody comes in the office and they're looking for a job, we're going to ask them, have they been on our website? That's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to say, what are you interested in, that sort of thing. We want everybody to come in and get registered with us. That way they can mine through the thousands of jobs that we have, not only in the state of North Dakota, which we have about 13,500 jobs open right now in the state of North Dakota, and about 2,000 right here in Bismarck, Mandan. So I know we've talked in the past, we've seen a little bit of decline across, in the last couple of years, but I think we have across the state. But again, there's all kinds of opportunities there, and we can, really get into more in depth here of what we do in our office. And I think people don't realize the different tools that we have, the talented staff that we have, and we're there to help them.
Now, Phil, a job search can be a daunting task. I mean, a job search can be, it's a very personal thing, obviously, but it can be very challenging. And there's a lot of hurdles that you have to clear. Sometimes to make those things happen. Your office has a staff to help someone through that process, correct? So if I come in the door tomorrow and I say, I want a job in this particular field, but I haven't been on your website, I don't know how to do it. I might need some help with my resume, things like that. Your staff can help with all those things.
And we can. And just come on in, and we'll set them down at the computer. We'll assist them going through our website, jobsnd.com. We first want to kind of get an idea of really what are they looking for. And maybe they haven't done any career exploration, especially for our younger folks, maybe that high school that comes in, or maybe they're going to college and they still don't know what to do. We'll sit them down, maybe go through some career exploration with them. And then kind of, we don't want to set up big expectations though. Okay, what's more of the reality here? Do you want to, are you looking right here in Bismarck, Mandan? What are you doing for school? Do you have any school? What's your education like? And I wouldn't say we're case managing at that point, but we want to know where they're at, what their skills are, what their education level is, and kind of take it from there.
But Phil, you raise an excellent point about what stage in life you might be as a job seeker. For instance, a personal story, when I came back, when I went to college, sat down, still with my mom and dad, and my mom looked at me and said, all right, you're in college, you're getting a job. And the first thing she did, she sent me to job service. I went down, I took the typing test, I did all that stuff. But regardless of your stage in life, where you're at in your education cycle, really job service can be for anybody. So whether you're a 16 to 17-year-old high school student for a part-time job, or someone who is looking for that first full-time career job, everybody in between is a target or is welcome at job service.
And everybody is welcome. And we have wonderful youth programs where we can assist if a youth comes in and they have some barriers to employment, we can help them set them up with an employer around town. And then it goes from anywhere from that age group to, we've had people in our office 70, 75 years old looking for a part-time job. And that's the place to come, because there are part-time jobs out there. And again, one of the biggest barriers that we see is people are afraid, believe it or not, to use computers. Everybody carries around a cell phone.
Which is a computer.
Which is a computer. But when they sit down, they kind of just pause and they're like, I've never used one of these before. And there's nothing to be afraid of. And you can't break it. You can't make a mistake on it. And, so
Phil, I can break it. Just give me a shot.
Okay, well, maybe. But That's the biggest thing, a hurdle that some folks need to get over. And nobody's going to make fun of them. Nobody's going to laugh at them. But it's there. We have 20-some computers there to use. We have gone through a little bit of a staff reduction, So normally our staff is, if we have a full house, a lot of job seekers in there, you're going to be probably 1 to 5, 1 to 7, one staff per 7 job seekers. So we kind of just make our way around the office and do our best with helping them look for that job. Maybe it's your resume. Maybe you need help with your resume. How about your interviewing skills? We do all that kind of stuff.
I think my interviewing skills are fantastic, Phil. I mean, the
Are
show
they?
is going very well so far.
You know what we could do? Well, and this is another service that we provide. We have a couple people we can sit down and we videotape people and actually do a mock interview with them. It would be fun to put you through that.
Phil, I don't care. I don't care for that suggestion. I don't care for that suggestion one bit. But you raise an excellent point with the resumes, right? Because I think that's one thing that I always hear, regardless of life stage, whether you're the college senior who just graduated or you're someone who might be just re-entering the workforce, brushing up on that resume is not an easy thing to do, and it's not always the most comfortable thing to do.
Right. And it's something that really, even if you're in a stable job, you've been there forever, you should always kind of have a resume on hand, or at least jot down take some time, maybe once a quarter, once a month, of what you did in your job, and put it down on paper. Because if it comes to the point where, let's say, your company is downsizing, you lose your job, whatever, and you're trying to go back in time, maybe it's 7, 8, 10 years. How can you remember what you did 10 years ago? But all those skills are great to put down. But another thing that we see when it comes to resumes, people come in and they have a 10-page resume. No. Employers don't have time to go through a 10-page resume. We always say 2-page resume is the max what you should have. And we can help. We can assist people in getting down to that point and getting some hard-hitting bullets that those wonderful HR managers that we have for all of our Bismarck Manning companies are out there looking at. They don't have a lot of time to go through that. They want to see those crucial skills that you have and what you can bring to your next company.
Phil, one of the things that I always notice when I come up to the building on Century Avenue and come to see you at the office is right away when I walk in, of course, you've got the front desk, and then you've got a rack of materials and things like that on the left-hand side there. And one of the materials in that rack is employers who will hire 14 and 15-year-olds or 16-year-olds. And I think that's always very useful, and I always notice it because I'm amazed how many times we get asked just in the course of a business day, my son or my daughter is 14 or 15. Where can they work? What can they do at 16? I imagine that's the reason you have that list front and center.
And that's it. And we try to update that about once a year, and it is one of our more popular lists that we have there. That's a great point. Along with all of our other brochures, it can be anywhere from how to set up your resume, how to set up your account on our website. It could be something for the employers there, how to search for resumes on our website. And we can get into that a little bit later of more focus on what we can do for employers in the area. But yeah, those are right there when you come in. It's to your left-hand side. There must be, 20 or 30 different brochures sitting there, and just grab one.
Does it happen very often that a mother, father, mom, dad come in with a son or a daughter, and they're helping them? They're starting that first job search. Does it happen in the office?
Oh yeah, it does. And matter of fact, it was just 6-9 months ago. We actually had one of our employees from Job Service who works at our central office brought their son in and was like, he needs a job. Can you please help him? Because we don't know where to turn. Brought him in, got him a job, and here we go. Yeah. All
right, folks, that's going to wrap us up for our segment here, but we're going to come back after the break. Jim's going to play us out some more back to school music, and we'll be back after the break with Phil Davis from Job Service on Super Talk 1270.
Currently, it's 70.
News and Views with Joel Heitkamp. Weekdays on Super Talk 1270.
There it is. I was going to give you Jim time. I was going to give you time for the lead-in. I want to get the intro so everyone knows that the musical theme is back to school. And now we're going through Ramones? I don't even know. Wow. He mines the internet for these songs. Jim mines the internet for the musical theme. We're back here on Super Talk 1270, the Dakota Housing Network. My name is Brian Ritter. I'm your host for the show. I'm joined today by Phil Davis from Job Service. Phil, I have bad news.
What's that? Give me some.
My wife just texted me again and said the show's not getting any better. I'm doing fantastic.
Really?
You, however, are not holding up your end of the deal.
Why is she saying that?
I don't know. I don't know.
I've never met
She doesn't
this
even know
young
you. She doesn't even know you,
lady.
Phil, and yet
I
she's
know.
just
Wow.
harping on you. It happens. I mean, I'll talk to her.
Okay.
No promises,
All right,
but I'll talk
well.
to her. We're back
Help me
talking about once Phil gets over his case of bruised ego. We're going to keep talking about all he does at Job Service North Dakota. And right before the break and over the break, Phil and I were talking about people entering the workforce and that first job. And it really came up because Job Service does have a list when you come into the building up on Century Avenue of those employers who can employ and who will hire 14, 15, 16-year-olds because, of course, everyone had a first job, might have been later or earlier in life, but there are those employers who can employ our high school students.
And there are, and they want to employ those young folks and teach them a little bit about the responsibility, about showing up for time, on time to work, and being responsible to not only their employer but also their mates that they're working with.
Absolutely.
And create that teamwork, create that type of atmosphere where those skills are carried on later in life.
Phil, now we've talked about one side of the equation. We've talked about the employee side of that equation, of that relationship. But Job Service, and where you and I work most often together, is on the employer side.
Correct.
Now, let's talk about all the different services and what you can do for the employers of our community.
All right, and that's the other half of it. And what we can do for employers is we like to get them registered first on our website, jobsnd.com, and then get them into our office, or we can make a house call. We got business service consultants that can go out. They like to go out and talk to the employers, get to know them, what's going on in town. Or I can go out and talk to the employers and let them know what services we can provide. Obviously, the biggest one is putting their openings on our website. Okay,
Which is free, mind you.
correct.
Which is free. Let's throw that out there.
No charge. Yes.
Capital letters.
No charge.
FREE.
Right.
Add a few more E's.
Yeah, there you go. And we can get them in. We can have them talk to staff. We really like doing this. Is have an employer of the month kind of come in and talk to our staff at our staff meeting. Let them showcase what they're all about, what kind of employees they're looking for, because we see on average probably 70, 80 folks come through our doors a day here in the Bismarck office. Okay, that's people that could be filling those spots. So when our staff sees what kind of skills those people have, they can kind of push them to these different, openings that we have for our area employers. So it's key to get them in, talk to our staff, get your openings on our website. We can promote through a hiring event, which is really cool. And again, like you said, there's no charge any of this. If they have openings, we can get them in our office. They can have their own job fair right in our office. All we ask them to do is a little advertising on their own, and we can place it on our website, some of the advertising. Promotion of the event, we can put it on our LinkedIn account, we can put it on our Twitter, we can put it on our Facebook page. Hey, whoever it may be, come on in. They're going to be here from 10 to 4. Here's the positions they're looking to fill. We do that probably once every 2 weeks here in Bismarck, Manhattan. I wish we'd do it a little bit more. I wish the employers would take a little bit more time out of their busy days and try to fill those openings right there, because there's, like I said, people walking in and out all the time. And we let the employers come into the resource room and say, hey, I'm Sue from wherever it may be, I'm here hiring for these positions. Just make a blanket announcement to the job seekers sitting there. If you're interested, come back here. We got a room set off the side for them. Come in. They can do some of our employers that do that on-site interviews right there. So it's a great tool to use. And again, we don't charge anything for that.
And Phil, it's not just a particular type of employer either. I mean, this isn't just, you don't have to be a manufacturer. You don't have to be a car dealer. You don't have to be a fast food restaurant. Job Service North Dakota works with any and every employer in our community.
And we really do. And you can go from our hospitals to, like you said, to our restaurants, to our hotels, to the school system, to manufacturing, other government entities we work with. It really runs the gamut from what we can offer and the different employers that we do have come through.
What I want listeners to understand is just the depth of effort. I mean, the depth of detail that Phil and his team will go in working with and helping employers. And we've seen this my entire time at the BMDA, whether it's a new company, whether it's an existing company. Someone might be just growing from just a small sole proprietorship, and now they're hiring their first 1 or 2 employees. And job service, just like they work with job seekers, will work with the employers to the extent that we've had new companies come to Bismarck Mandan, host job fairs right in your boardroom, right in your office.
And we did that last year with all the Hay Creek shops that went up. We did that with the Menards manufacturing
plant,
out in McKinsey. Those are just a few. We did that with a telecommunications company not too long ago. Yes, and please come in and call us. And I had a company call me. I think you referred them to us the last couple of days, and they were going into some negotiations with one of their unions they deal with, and they wanted to know about certain salaries and that sort of thing. And we can help them with that. We have surveys that are sent out to all the employers throughout the region, throughout the state. We always ask them to fill those out so we can put together we have a wonderful labor market information shop that puts all this information together for use by our employers, for use by people like you, economic development, and of course people like us, so we can give the employers kind of an idea what they should be paying to entice people to go out and look for them, go out and be that key employer in our area.
See, and I think that information part you just talked about, Phil, is so critical, because that's something that our employers are constantly looking for, because our market is changing so rapidly.
Right.
The things that you and I are talking about today, I'm going to venture to say in 6 months from now or a year from now, we're not going to be talking about the same thing.
No, and it's going to change.
It's going to change. And so that's why I would encourage you as employers as well, not just job seekers looking for what's out there, employers, use it. I mean, learn from Phil and his team. What are the job openings? What are the average wages? What is the best way to try to find those people? Because your team does it all.
We really do. And one other huge tool that is very underutilized is an employer, if they're registered with us, they can come in and they can do this right in their office. They can mine the resumes that are on our website. Okay, we have, I think the last count was almost 9,000 resumes on our website. And, some are brand new, some have been out there for a while. But every week, I think we have about 2,500 people use our website looking for work, throughout the state, could be throughout the world, and putting their resumes on there. I just saw that for last week, people that registered with us was brand new job seekers that registered with us, and again, this is statewide, was right at 300 new people just registered with us. And then we had another 80 that registered out of state. And out of those 300 in-state, I think it was about 85 people put their resume out there. So employers, if they're registered with us, they can go in, they can mine those resumes, and they can send an instant message through jobsnd.com to that job seeker. Hey, I'm interested in your resume. Can you give me a call? Can you shoot me an email back? Or here's my telephone number. Give me a text message. I'm interested in talking to you. It's just another tool that we have. A lot of people don't use. It's underutilized, but it's something great that's out there.
Well, the resume mining, that's something that I'm so glad you brought that up, Phil, because to me that's a tremendously useful tool for an employer, because maybe they don't have an opening right now. Maybe they're just looking for talent.
Right.
Because I have to imagine that happens too, Phil, is that managers are out there just looking for, maybe I don't have anything open right now, but I'm just looking for the best possible person out there, and maybe we'll find a fit.
Or sometimes we've even heard they don't have a position, but they find a certain person that they think, he or she is a great fit. Let's bring them on, okay? And then we're going to make a position for them because we want that talent in our area, or like you said, it could be a manager, bring it to the business owner or whatever it may be. But yeah, it's out there, and we just need more employers to take advantage of that.
I think that's so important to stress, because not only is it a benefit for the employer, but if you're that job seeker. And I know everyone wants everything right now, and you don't want to be looking for jobs for a long time. You want to find something bang, bang, bang right here. Well, now, if I'm a job seeker, I put that resume online, I put it in your system. Maybe it's, maybe I found something, maybe I move on, but now here comes that perfect opportunity.
Exactly.
That job that employer found through job service. And again, folks, I can't stress this enough. It's free. We stress this to the employers that we work with on a constant basis, is that when you work with Phil and his team, who are truly the best at what they do, it's free. You can't get this level of service elsewhere. They do a fantastic job, and I just want to keep banging that point home.
And now, we've never turned an employer down. Never, that you've sent our way.
It's a sparkling record right there.
There you go.
See, now, as we get ready to get into the break, you've heard Phil reference the website a few times. Job Service has a tremendous website. You can do some of the stuff from home. If you register, you can do a lot of that job search from home. The website is jobsnd.com, And again, very user-friendly. We use it all the time at the office. But I would encourage you to go ahead and take a look at that. But right now, it's time to head into the next break on Super Talk 1270 here in the Dakota Housing Network.
Currently, it's 72.
The Red River Farm Network. Ag News is here on Super Talk 1270.
If you don't know the song after those couple of bars, you probably haven't listened to Pink Floyd, right? And Jim, you consider this a back-to-school song?
Well, it's a school song.
It's a school song, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So it fits. It's in theme.
Yeah.
It's topical.
Yeah, in a manner of speaking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Folks, my name is Brian Ritter. I am your host today on the Dakota Housing Network. I'm joined by my friend Phil Davis from Job Service North Dakota. We're into our last segment, and I promised you, Phil, it would fly by. And
it sure
has. It flown by?
It has.
Thank you.
We have to do this again. We should do a job segment every couple weeks.
You know what? You're
gonna
gonna start paying for that stuff. You're gonna start
I?
paying for that, Phil.
Oh,
I can't
on.
just be giving this away.
Really? It's I didn't know who I was dealing with.
Well,
here.
you're right. It just got real awkward in the studio because
It
now
did.
Phil's pulling
It's
his wallet
really
out.
quiet.
You can't see this.
What are we going to do now? What are we going to say
Now
now?
what are we going to talk about? Because we just destroyed it.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Listening.
Okay, we talked a little bit about we have 2,000 job openings here in Bismarck, Manor, right? How do we fill some of those openings?
You know, Phil, and it's a conversation you and I have had a lot. I think it's going to take two different approaches. I mean, one in the short term, one in the long term. In the short term, we have to do a much better job as a community of educating not only our students, not only those kids who are in K-12 or higher ed, but we've got to get it out to parents, to teachers, to counselors, because those are the influencers. And I think that's our long-term strategy to fill those jobs.
Right, and I think, through a little bit what you guys are doing through the Make Your Mark campaign here in Bismarck, man, and just I know we went out and talked to, I think it was to about 25 school counselors here in June. We had a good afternoon with them, but we, like you just said, we need to get the information out. Hey, Bismarck and Mandan is a great place to live. We got great jobs. We got great paying jobs. And we have to fill them. In order for us to keep growing, keep having a great community, we have to keep doing that.
They're just like roads. I mean,
Right.
we're having the roads conversation in Bismarck and Mandan right now. This is critical infrastructure. And what you guys obviously do helps us meet those demands. But I think more in the long term, yeah, we're on the same page. In the short term is where you guys excel. I mean, you guys excel at everything that you do. But especially in the short term, in trying to fill those jobs right now. Right. I mean, you guys have a number of different methods. One of them being some job fairs, some job events that you guys use. You got some coming up.
And we love putting our job fairs on. And we partner with some of our good friends. BMDA would be one.
Oh, thanks for the plug.
Our good friends over at Bismarck State College. We go back and forth and help each other out in that. But yeah, we got some cool job fairs coming up. The first one here is our River Cities Job Fair. And that is going to be on September 29th, and that'll be held at the Energy Center.
Okay.
Kate at 224-5666 is the person you want to contact there. We are going to be having Job Service is going to be having a Veteran and Community Job Fair on November 10th, right in our office at 1601 East Century Avenue. You don't know it yet, but you're going to be a partner, I think, for that one. How's that? On the radio, I'm going to give you a special right
spot
now.
like that.
I can do it.
They can't
You asked
see
me
us.
to come in to be a guest. Here's what we're going to do.
Phil,
we're going to have
your habitual liar.
No. Hey, we're going to have that job fair, like I said, again on November 10th. I think we're going to have about 15 or 16 employers there, and then that'll roll us into the new year. BSC will have a big job fair where, again, in probably that February and a January timeframe, and then we'll roll in again in April and have our spring multi-industry job fair that we always have down at the Ramcota, where I know you and Judy and your staff are down there.
We'll be there.
And helping us out with that. But so that's a couple of things coming up with us for our job fairs.
So Phil, let's talk about. I called you last week. Ended up taking up probably a half hour of your time on the phone, just talking about what do you see coming through the door? How many are you seeing? More people, less people, more job listings, less job listings. If we looked at the market right now and we compared it to, let's say, 12 months ago, last year at the same time, what does it look like through your eyes? I mean, what are you seeing?
Well, we've seen a little decrease, probably 800-900 jobs in the Bismarck-Mandan area over the last, I'd say, 12 to 18 months. But it's nothing that, the sky's falling type of deal. It's just a little bit of a slowdown that we've had. But again, like I said in the first segment, we still have employers coming to town. It's just, I think the employers have kind of slowed down and not so much in that hiring gear, but they're still looking for that key employee to hire. But as far as industries go, Well, healthcare has been out there. I mean, healthcare is just growing and growing and growing here in Bismarck-Mandan. They have really been the leaders of the pack. Sales related type of industry, anything from the cashiers, retail, that sort of thing. Inside outside sales are still hot and heavy here. Office administrative support type of secretaries, admin assistants, office clerks, those type are still. We have 140 openings there, and then our construction jobs has not slowed down at all. They're still they're always in the top 3. It doesn't matter the time of year. Normally you think, that November, December are going to slow down a little bit, which of course they do, but we still always have that 80 to 150 openings in our construction industry.
Well, Phil, it's like you and I have talked about. In the first segment we talked about home building. Of course, those numbers are up.
Right.
And then when you look around commercially, industrial, when you look around Bismarck-Mandan right now, if we took just the big projects, we're probably pushing somewhere around $150 million worth of commercial activity, commercial construction activity. And so it's obviously very indicative of a healthy job market. But I want to go back to something that you raised. I mean, when you look at 12 months ago to now, you said we're probably down 900 job openings. Now, if you're looking to use that as a gauge of the community's health, the health of the economy, it's probably not a great gauge because those 900, they might have been filled. Those jobs might have been filled because you look at the size of our workforce. I think the numbers you just gave me, our workforce is probably 2,000 to 3,000 people larger than it was even 2 years ago.
Exactly right, and it just keeps growing. And I saw the numbers from May to June, and we had another 800 more enter the workforce. Well, granted, some of those were students that came back home, and that's to be expected. So I'm interested to see once we get through probably that November timeframe to see what our numbers are going to fall off to in August as far as our workforce and that sort of thing. But yeah, there's all kinds of opportunities. And, we talked a little bit about healthcare. Transportation is still a big one. We still have such a need for bus drivers, truck drivers, delivery drivers. It's just, and you can still drive around town and see all the boards out there, the bulletin boards and the different signs out there, help wanted, help wanted. That hasn't changed. You drive up and down State Street in 83 there. Signs all around.
So let's talk about wages a little bit. In terms of, and obviously not looking to give away any trade secrets here of any employers, but when you talk about where those wages are as a community, where you're seeing employers generally at, for pay, going to be different depending upon, obviously, experience levels, industries, things like that. But have you seen a general increase, a decrease, or what have you seen in terms of wages in Bismarck-Mandan?
That's a great question. One that, again, we fielded a call yesterday about that from an employer. Hey, what's your guys' feelings out there? And we've seen it kind of in the last 12 months. Maybe I wouldn't say shoot up as much as we had over the last 24 months prior to that. So a little bit of a slowdown, but we're way ahead of where we were, in 2011, 2012 type of time frame. When employers call and say, hey, what should we be paying? Well, we bring out the 2015 survey. And what I always tell them then, I give them whatever it may be. Maybe it's healthcare asking me, or, yesterday it was more industrial type of work. And I always say, well, okay, here's where the entry level is. Here's the experienced level. And then I always tell them pretty much add on 50 cents or $1 to that. And that seems, one of our older consultants, business consultants who's now has been retired, he taught me that when I first came to job service 9 years ago. He said, here's what you need to use. But then I always tell them to add on 50 cents to $1 because it just seems like it's been growing and growing and growing. And yeah, we've kind of leveled off here in the last 12 months. But, I'll use truck drivers, for example. A year ago, we were seeing truck drivers being hired at $20, $24 an hour. We were still competing with some of that out in the western part of the state. Now I would say truck drivers are being hired about that $19 an hour. Okay. So we've seen a little bit of drop off there. But again, I think as an employer, if you can afford to pay it, you're going to get the better crop of employee to come. You want to stand out from the crowd. You want to be able to say, we are the employer of choice, no matter the industry.
So, Phil, with our last couple of minutes here in the show today, employers, employees, job seekers, people who have job openings, what is the best way for them to engage you? What's the best way for them to find you? How do they start the process?
Okay. A couple things. They can go to our website, jobsnd.com, and they can register with us. You don't have to register to look for jobs, but you're going to get more of the job order. You're going to get more about the employer if you do register with us. Or you can come into our office at 1601 East Century Avenue. We are open from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. You can give us a call, 328-5000, and you can choose either there will be an employer type of, you hit 1 for employer, whatever it may be, or if you're a job seeker, you can stay on the line. We do have a dedicated veteran staff. If you're a veteran, come on in and see us. Ask for Joe. He's there to help them. We give priority of service to our wonderful veterans that have given so much. But that's 3 ways you can get a hold of us right there.
Well, Phil, I want to thank you very much for being here with us today. Been a fantastic show. And folks, Job Service does a wonderful job. And please take that for what it's worth. They do a fantastic job there on Century Avenue. Thank you for being on the show today, Phil, again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I
And
sure
for all of our
appreciate
listeners, you'll find us here again in another month here on Super Talk 1270.
Super Talk 1270 KLXX Mandan, Bismarck. Listen anytime, anywhere, online at supertalk1270.com.